everybody, and welcome to the Aggieville Alleycats podcast. With them rain, shine, or anything in between, we're here to deliver to you the Kansas State sporting news you so love. I'm Ace Edwards, right alongside
Connor Baltazar.
And apparently it's raining oil money. That is what we have learned from this weekend. K-State ends up falling to Texas Tech 43-20. It's the first time in, I think, 10 tries that Texas Tech has managed to beat K-State, and the first time in even longer in Manhattan. But, I mean, this is a game that you could pretty easily split into two halves, where the first half, K-State looked fine, except for like 4 plays, which were weird, wacky turnovers. And then the second half, where because we were behind, we were forced to throw the ball a lot more than, well, we were forced into more obvious passing situations. I think we probably passed the ball about as much as we thought we would have to, but it's just when those passes came that became the issue for K-State.
Yeah, this was just a thoroughly embarrassing performance by K-State. I mean, we knew that Tech's strengths were in the trenches. I feel like run defense wasn't great, but had its moments. Pass protection was just bad the entire game, with pretty much no exception. PFF said that Avery got pressured 36% of the time, and I just flat out don't agree with that. I in game, I think it was probably 50% at least, more often than not, in the most literal sense. Avery was under fire in the pocket and typically pretty quick, especially off of the right side of the offensive line. Langane just got absolutely embarrassed all game, which, again, wasn't surprising, but doesn't make it any less frustrating to me, because there were definitely moments, drives, and in the early parts of the game where it felt like we were kind of ready to play. But as the game wore on, we just kind of started playing like we felt like we didn't belong. The turnovers, I think, were a sign. I mean, partially Tech is just a good defense of forcing turnovers, but I also think a lot of it was lack of focus, especially the fumbles. I think a lot of that is lack of focus, because what Jace had 2 probably, or nearly had 3, either that or there was 1 nearly 2. But Jace was rough. Really, the whole offense as a whole. If we still did MVPs, I don't know who I would say was the MVP. Maybe Avery, because I really think that he was dealt a raw deal in this game. I mean, he made his fair share of mistakes. The first pass of the game was a horrible pick that was entirely on him. But beyond that, he really never got a fair shot this game, just with how much pressure we had. And Texas Tech didn't blitz him that much. They only blitzed 15% of the time. That's 6 times all game, because they just didn't need to.
Yeah. And that's kind of been Tech most of the year, is they've just done a really good job at getting home with the 4 NFL guys that are going to go on day 1 or day 2 of the NFL draft. But I think there is something to say that I called it probably the most talented defensive line that we've seen since the Alabama game, or maybe the Texas game. However, this is infinitely more embarrassing, because even against those teams, we looked like we were playing the same game. This time, we didn't look like we were playing the same game.
Yeah, this was one of the more thorough dismantlings of a K-State team that I've seen in the Kleiman era, absent the COVID year. I mean, the only comparison, I think, is that Sugar Bowl, and so much of the Sugar Bowl was us really rolling the dice and them not rolling in our favor. This game, we didn't really roll the dice that much. We just got bowled over and kind of accepted it for the most part. And I think that's kind of one of the more frustrating parts of this game as well. I mean, we just didn't really have a lot of fight when we needed to. The offensive line, again, I get they've been disappointing all year, so it was a tall task to expect really anything coming into this game, but that's not an excuse. That's just pointing out an even larger issue, which is that we just lack talent across the board. Like, this was supposed to be a Big 12 championship roster. And like, if we had been undefeated up to this point in the year, like, this result's probably the same. Like, that would be a major like slap in the face as well. Like, and it just shows how big the gap is, how big the gulf is. And I don't know, I'm just very frustrated about this result.
Yeah. I understand the frustration. Do you want to do a little bit of good talk before we dive right back into the 28-foot mountain of crap, or do you want to save that to the end?
Austin Romaine played well.
Daniel Cobbs also played well.
Yeah, I genuinely have nothing else positive to say about this game other than those two players individually. I thought were good. If you have other things to say, feel free, but I have nothing.
Ryan Davis flashed. Des Purnell I thought was fine. That's it. That's really all I have, and that we got to see a little bit of the Ryan Davis that we were advertised, and the Ryan Davis that I think he will end up being, especially with that strip play where he recovered the fumble. And he did have some pretty decent pass rush reps. He's just clearly a little undercooked for this level of competition, and that's fine. He's a redshirt sophomore or redshirt freshman.
I think he's a redshirt sophomore.
Okay, because him and Jordan Allen were in the same class.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's kind of to be expected, especially not getting a whole lot of game action before. But he flashed. I really was happy with Austin Romaine and Daniel Cobbs. Outside of like two plays, I was actually happy with Garrett Oakley as well. Jerron Tibbs is still really good. That's it. That's all I got.
Yeah. Oakley, he definitely had some solid plays in the past game, but he also, had a couple of back-breaking plays in the past game as well. And a couple of gotta have it catches, which that's been the biggest knock on him this year, is that he has been super productive and has shown up in big moments, but he's also had his fair share of just drive killers as well. Jace had a few drive killers in this game as well. This was the first, I think, genuinely bad full game that Jace has played in a while. But yeah, it was still, I mean, you expect a lot more from your star, I think, when for this sort of moment. At the very least, like hold on to the ball. Like, if you're gonna not have your day, don't let it ruin everyone else's. Like, just if it's just not your day, stay out of the way.
Yeah, and it just wasn't Jace's day. I mean, you'd be hard pressed to find anyone whose day it was. And now I feel like we're going to let's go ahead and just talk about the play calling. To a degree, I understand as someone who's been pointed at as the biggest Matt Wells defender, which probably true, but that doesn't mean that I think he's perfect. And this game was sort of the personification of him not being perfect, because I thought that he let, and Connor, I'm a big process guy. I think he let bad results get in the way of good process. And I'm specifically thinking of the screenplays that hypothetically should have worked and actually did work for yards and just ended up being fumbles or ended up being dropped. And to me, when Matt Wells' play calling devolved into, I don't know, Avery make a play, that is when the game sort of just completely fell off the rails. And that is my critique of him, is that he put far too much of this game on Avery to just make a play instead of calling plays that actually properly helped Avery Johnson to make those plays.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like, he had his moments. Sure, I liked the toss play to Joe Jackson, which, I mean, was the like lone run really of the day that worked for Joe Jackson. There might have been one other that was successful. We had a nice run with Jace, and we had some creative formations as well. But yeah, all in all, I was not happy. I think the biggest fan base complaint is probably going to be one that I agree with, and it's that I think that we insisted on the traditional run game for too long. I understand that it needs to be part of the game and you have to keep defenses honest, but pretty much every time we tried a traditional run, it was just a waste of a play. It wasn't going to be successful. Our offensive line was already overmatched and wasn't getting any push, and that was without Tech bringing up extra help. Like, they didn't need to really run blitz us. Like, their front 3 or 4 was more than enough to just eviscerate every single running play. Like, and the linebackers are just fill in behind them like a regular run play. The only times that we got anything out of the run game were either Avery, which like makes sense because like he's just a superstar athlete, or less traditional running plays like having Jace run the ball and then the toss to Joe Jackson that we haven't really seen us run at all this year. So the traditional run game, I think we wasted a lot of time in this game just treading water, hoping that, you know, we could, I don't know, drill something into our line that they just don't have. And that's push at the line. I mean, we weren't getting push against KU, and KU sucks in defense. Like, what were we going to do against the best defensive front in college football? The answer is nothing. Like, we wasted a lot of snaps in this game trying to get Joe Jackson going. Man, we probably should have abandoned it earlier than we did, and I think we did abandon it fairly early. But any run between the tackles with Joe Jackson, this game was a bad play call, I think, at its inception.
Yeah, and I think that that's probably a fair critique. And there's nothing really else to say about that. Now, I guess there's two sort of points I would make, is that there are theoretically ways, I should say, to run against a team that has just thoroughly outmatched you in the trenches, and that's running a lot of counter or trap plays. Here's the thing. We haven't run those. We don't run those. We didn't even run a lot of counter under Connor Riley or Colin Klein. We ran a lot more trap plays, which if you want to, this was always going to be the complaint with Matt Wells. His run game scheming is not great. It's not great at all, actually, with very, very rare exception, like mostly being in terms of like sweep plays, which I don't think we ran. It wouldn't have worked, don't misunderstand, but we didn't run it. We didn't try it.
Yeah, and this is also, you know, like for kind of an outside the game narrative that permeated throughout the week, I don't think Dylan Edwards would have helped either in this game. In fact, like his foot would have fallen off for good, I think, after this game. So, yeah, I have definitely I was happy, I guess, if I'm for some reason I'm choosing to be positive about this. I was happy that we were willing to run Avery in this game, because going in, I think it was obvious that was going to be the only way that the run game did anything, which was get our best athlete in space. And that's what we did. That was the majority of our successful offense in this game was Avery making something happen, like, which really sucks, but that's just how it was.
Yeah. And I'll also say that, and this isn't me saying that this should be the excuse, because I think it's a pretty crap excuse, but there is, I guess, a small point to be made of when you're getting thoroughly swacked in the offensive line, like, what do you do? The answer is a bunch of things that we didn't have installed. But even then, that goes back to a coaching problem of, why don't you have trap runs installed? Why don't you have more RPO, like true RPO screens installed? It goes back to coaching, and to me, that's less in-game coaching and more general coaching. But the point still stands that it's not good. But even outside of that, I do think that first half was, and this goes for both sides of the ball, so that could serve as a transition between the sides of the ball. First half, I think, was execution. Second half, I think, was play calling. And that very much extends to the defensive side of the ball to me.
Yeah, no, first half, I totally agree. I really came out of the first half thinking if we had just played a little better on the field, like things, I think we would have been honestly leading at halftime. But the second half was a total opposite. I agree. Like, I think we came out and really didn't make any adjustments. At least it didn't seem like it. And if we did, they certainly didn't work because Joey McGuire, notably bad in-game coach, came out and out-adjusted us. Like, and that's kind of been like one of the calling cards that we've always been able to rely on with this staff, is that they've made good second half adjustments, particularly Clanderman. And we came out and just looked worse in the second half. We looked tired and flat. Like, we were just kind of happy that it wasn't worse. And we were just like, man, I can't wait for this to be done, especially in the fourth quarter. Like, I don't know, man. I was pretty thoroughly disappointed with the second half effort, but I mean, really, for the first time all year, we can say it was everybody's fault. Like, everyone's bad.
Well, I would posit Arizona.
Yeah, that's a fair point. But
that doesn't. We're laughing because laughing is the only way to avoid the pain, not because it doesn't make it hurt, but because that's the natural reaction at this point.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. It's just crazy to think about, like, the preseason expectations for this team and where we're at, and like it's a pretty thorough whiplash as well, because coming off of last week, we were sitting here thinking, if it wasn't for the Baylor game, like, we'd be in the thick of the Big 12 championship race right now. And all it took was one bad week, and we are right back to where we were in September. And it makes the mind wonder how much of the last month of K-State football was genuine improvement and adjustment, and how much of it was just more favorable matchups and playing worse teams.
I think it's probably a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B. I don't think that the K-State, like, in terms of, I don't think that K-State is as bad a team as they showed in this game or in the Arizona game, for that matter, because literally everything went wrong in both of those games. Counter argument to that, it's gone wrong twice. But I still think that this is just a volatile team, which it shouldn't be with the amount of experience that it has. If this was, like, positing to different sports, if this was this year's women's basketball team or last year's baseball team for K-State, this would be like, yeah, you're gonna get some of these games. This is a team that should know better.
Yeah, we're in year 2 of Avery starting full time. This was we went out and spent a pretty good amount of money keeping our star players around. We have offensive weapons. We have offensive linemen that have been in the program for quite a while. And this is like the final product of like this era, really, of K-State football for Coach Kleiman, and it's a team that is looking like it's destined to be 6-6, and that is just no holds barred, a complete and utter failure of a season, like probably the biggest failure of a season relative to expectations in K-State history. I guess 2004, maybe, but I need some opinions of people that have memories that go that far back. Outside of my one memory of getting a cozy coop for my birthday when I was 3. But that doesn't help with this discussion.
It's a fun fact.
It is a fun fact. It was red and is very nice.
You still have it?
I don't know. That's a better question for my parents. The answer is almost certainly not, but we should bring it out for Harley Day, though. That's what I should have done.
Yeah. This is a team that's probably going to finish 6-6 because you've already said it about Oklahoma State. The cross is no longer on me. They are awful. Colorado has collapsed as of late. Who knows if they are conscious, because they made, was it a home game for Colorado when they played Arizona?
Yeah, that was a home game for them. I got back to the apartment. I turned on the TV, and since like YouTube TV and multi-billion-dollar corporations are going at it right now, but so I was watching the Colorado game, and I flipped to it, and like it's just comical. I mean, because like it's like 52-7 or 42-7 or whatever it is at that point. It was already well in hand at that point. And so now we're getting, I think, kind of back to where people thought the Dion experiment would go. I guess we'll see if he's able to rebound. Granted, there's a ton of extenuating circumstances that do make this here like understandably worse for Colorado. But they'll always have last year, I guess. I don't know. If we lose to Colorado on senior day, like I will vocally become like fire climbing at that point, which I'm not really outwardly like fire climbing right now. I'm like ready to like kind of move on to the next era of K-State football, but I'm not like militant about it, I would say. Like if we lose to Colorado though, that will change. I will go buy pitchforks and do nothing about it other than maybe like pick some trash up off the highway. But
yeah, there's something to be said about it being time, and I think that this is like a perfect. I have no idea what my cat is doing. I think that
universal statement right there.
Yeah, I feel like that's sort of like a postseason discussion. Do we still have our pact going that if we go to the Liberty Bowl, we don't do a preview for it because it's the Liberty Bowl?
Yes, I'd forgotten about that pact, but I think I remember us doing it. But even if we hadn't done it, it would still be a good one to do because I have little interest in watching 6-6 K-State or really getting into the nitty-gritty of a preview of 6-6 K-State against presumably like 6-6 like Wake Forest or something like that. Like,
oh god,
I don't even know. It's the SEC. It might actually be the SEC.
No, it's the SEC tie-in.
Okay, so what do we even get?
I am looking at the standings right now.
Kentucky? No, they're not good.
They are not bowl eligible.
Yeah, they're not good enough.
Right now, it is looking like, oh god. There are currently the teams that are bowl eligible and that like would be contenders for the Liberty Bowl. Like if they just completely collapsed, would be Tennessee, Mizzou. I don't want to do that again. Those are the two that are currently bowl eligible. LSU needs one more win. Mississippi State, weirdly enough. Kentucky needs 3 more wins. Auburn needs 2, but they just fired their coach. South Carolina needs 3. Okay, so we would be going up against, like, if I had to project it now that we were going to the Liberty Bowl, I'd say who does Mississippi State play? I know they just played Arkansas.
That's kind of the feeling.
Oh, God, no. Yeah, they are not making it. They go Georgia, Mizzou, and Ole Miss.
Oh, well, fingers crossed Lane Kiffin rumors come out and they collapse and lose to Mississippi State.
Yeah, because LSU would be the next candidate, and they still have to. So LSU will be bowl eligible because they play Arkansas and Western Kentucky.
Okay, yeah, so they'll make it.
Yeah. Anyway, I guess we'll do some like rapid fire thoughts here. Are you team fire Matt Wells or team not fire Matt Wells?
Today, I'm team not fire because I don't think we gain anything from firing him with like a month left in the season, and I don't know who on staff would do a better job than Matt Wells at this point in the year. I am team fire Matt Wells once the season's done. Like I was pretty patient with him and like willing to see the good. But I do think it's become pretty obvious that our ceiling is just like significantly limited with him as the play caller. With that being said, I don't know if we do make that change. Kleiman has been loyal to a fault, to be sure. And Matt Wells is his buddy. So I don't think we're going to make that change unless like other changes are made. But who's to say, really? Like, I wish I had inside info to break. But it is a Cold War bunker in Veneer right now. Nothing's getting in or out. So
yeah, I will say that my answer depends on if Avery is coming back. Because if Avery is coming back, I really don't call it a sunk cost fallacy all you want. I don't want to subject him to a 4th OC in 4 years. If Avery goes to the draft, which again I don't know, I don't think anyone knows at this point, I'm fine moving on. Maybe we'll just go back to the OC search a few years ago and hire Willie Corn. Can you imagine Blake Barnett in a Willie Corn offense?
That would be interesting. I wonder if the Willie Corn hype, though, is faded because Liberty's not been that good. So, I don't know. Maybe we're still interested just based on prior body of work. I don't know. Let's get the Western Kansas Ranchers together and gift Klein like $8 million to be the head coach in waiting and call plays. Surely that won't cause any friction.
Surely not. I think I'm kind of done talking about this game. I mean, we spent maybe 15 minutes talking about the game and 3 minutes talking about going to the godforsaken Liberty Bowl. So I feel like we're out of things to say.
Yeah. Women's basketball starts, or no, it's an exhibition game. I think Monday.
Don't the men's game play tomorrow? Don't the men play too?
No, they play Tuesday.
Okay, sorry.
It's okay. I don't expect you to have their schedules memorized.
Anyway, final notes before we go.
We have a really great fan base. We had allegedly like 52,000 people at the game. And we were 4-4, now 4-5. So our fan base is super strong. Now, with that being said, season ticket renewals pending hiring a new coach. are probably not going to be very good. But still, I guess a big shout out to the fan base. However, and exit reentry. I don't blame people for leaving yesterday, but man, it was bad. Like more bad than usual. Like the third quarter was like a morgue.
Yeah, God, they have to end that so bad, dude. We've been on the crusade of like end it expeditiously, but good Lord, it keeps getting worse.
Yeah, and Gene just kind of keeps kicking the can down the road on that. Like it was supposed to like end like I think last year, and then we just decided actually no, we were just kidding on that. So I don't know. I don't know why we do that. I think we're one of the last schools that allows it. Shocking that we're behind the curve yet again. But.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you all for listening to this painful episode of the Aggieville Alleycats podcast. If you want to follow or contact the show, you can follow us just about anywhere at Aggieville Alleycats. And if you want to email us, we're AggievilleAlleycats@gmail.com. If you want to follow us on a more personal note, I am at ACEdward00.
I'm at Connor Boutsler, capital C, capital B.
And if you want to support the show financially, please be sure to check out the official Aggieville Alleycats merch store, link found in our podcast and Twitter bio. But most importantly, thank you all for listening to this episode of the Aggieville Alleycats podcast. For come rain, shine, or anything between, we're here to deliver to you the Kansas State sporting news you so love. Stay safe, Alleycats.